What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to show you guys my ordnance focus minigun build for Amon. This is my infinite minigun build that I've been working on for the better part of the last couple of days, and this build is absolutely slapping every bit of content. As you could probably tell looking at some of the footage right now, we are capable of permanently keeping our minigun active and able to just shred through bosses. And seeing that we have a combination of different like shielding and things of the sort, we're actually capable of being extremely defensive while constantly shooting and, you know, just doing a ton of damage. In addition to this, we actually tailored this build directly to be really good for AoE clear. We're using a combination of the hot slugger and our firework shield to essentially just blow up the entire screen. So what we put together here is a really solid all-around crucible focused build that can not only deal with ads and things of the sort, but also can absolutely shred through pretty much every single boss as long as their hitbox isn't too weird. This is my infinite Gatling Amon build. Let me show you guys how to put it together. Alright, first things first, before we dive on in, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I know it can be annoying to hear, but keep in mind this is how I make a living, and your support really does help me keep making guides just like this one. I got plenty more Borderlands content coming that I know you'll enjoy, so hit the button and let's get started. Now that you guys understand how the build works, let's talk about the parts and the equipment and how to put this together. We'll go piece by piece. So the first things that's important is our two weapons. One is going to be the wild Gatling gun. And this is a minigun that shoots out a ton of bullets, have a 90 round mag, and it comes with the buff called Whistler. Now what I believe this does is whenever you're shooting the gun, it will auto hone onto them like center of mass kind of thing, and will always automatically hit them as long as they're within your like reticule range. It has a 30,000 DPS meter, which is insane, and it's really nice for that. The other weapon we're going to be looking at in this build is going to be Hot Slugger. This one's really hot right now. Just in general, I think a lot of people are using this. And what this does is on kill, it'll deal 30% damage for 10 seconds with a maximum of 3 stacks. So that'll be 90% damage, and it can ricochet whenever it crits. So shooting ahead, it'll ricochet and hit multiple things. Now, the fortunate thing about these two items are they are found in the exact same location from this same exact boss. So you have a good chance of getting both of these items. Now, where you can find this is over here in this region. The name is Heart of the Mountain. You can come from this little place here, the Bone Sanctuary, and come here to the Kraken Nook. And you'll face off against a boss called the Callous Harbinger of Annihilating Death. This guy is shield, I believe he's shield green armor. So you'll be able to, bring weapons appropriate to it. But he's a relatively easy boss. For the rest of the build, we're not completely finished with this build, and I want to be very clear about that. There's still a lot of work to be done with this build, but I'll go over what we do have. Again, I kind of wanted to get this build out so you guys can kind of start playing around with it and then start building for it, because that's the most important thing in my opinion. For our stem, we're using a fire rate and rage stem. I think this is one of the best you can get. This is going to give you 15% fire rate, and it's going to give you 30% damage. You're going to take 15% more damage, but this is irrelevant as our shielding is going to protect us due to the nature of our shield. The other thing we're going to be using is a resonant padding scar. Basically, what we want from our energy shield is a shield that gives us siphon. When dealing 10%, when dealing damage, you got a 10% chance to grant overshield. There is another version that grants 5% chance, but I like the 10% chance because it's a little bit more reliable. And you'll see whenever I'm shooting at things, my energy shield my overshield goes up super fast. And this is kind of the reason why. Now, the other thing you're going to be using is a firework. I cover this in every single build because it is the most overpowered thing in the game, in my opinion. And basically what this does is whenever you kill things, it will jump around and drop missiles, and the missiles will chain to other things and kill them and drop more missiles. And you're going to be using this whenever you're using your Hot Slugger build. And you can get this one from our favorite guy here, Splash Zone. This is where you first spawned in at. This is where you can go to Splash Zone. It's a relatively easy item to pick up. For our mod enhancement, we have a Waldorf license that has gun damage and shotgun magazine size. Now, I think that there's other options that can be pretty decent. Maybe there's a different Waldorf license that gives some type of damage, but the only way to scale your minigun damage is with gun damage. And I'll explain that in just a second. So that's all that really matters, and that's why I'm using this, because it has gun damage and it has shotgun magazine. As you can see here, I have 2 shots for mines, so I don't have to reload. I can just double shot, and that's kind of the purpose of this one. That's why I'm using a rare, but you can use many other things. And then for our class mod, this is the only thing that is not really good right now. We need to work on all our mods and all our firmware, but even then, without our firmware, we're absolutely killing it. What I would recommend on this would be ordnance damage, ordnance crit chance, and something with like some type of gun damage, possibly some elemental damage would be ideal here for your class mod. With that in mind, let's talk about the firmware you should have or aim for, that you should be building for right now. Ignore these stats because this is on a piece I didn't have it. You want Gadget Ahoy. It will give you ordnance cooldown duration by 15%. You don't really need this, but it is okay. This is going to give you 20% ordnance damage, which is massive, and the ordnance kills grants 20% damage for 15 seconds. So that's a 40% damage increase that you can use pretty reliably here. So this is a big one. And then on the other one, you're going to use this. Get Throw In is going to give you ordnance damage as well as splash radius. I don't think the splash radius is that good. I would probably recommend just going 1 ordnance damage. I don't really see anything else. Maybe you can get like gun damage on another one, so you could go 3-1-1 and get something else gun damage related, or something that can maybe give you utility. Otherwise, that's pretty much it for the equipment. Anything else you kind of want to look for your own. The other 3 weapons kind of do whatever you want, but the rest, this is how you set up the equipment. All right, next, let's talk about skills, and we're going to be primarily using cybernetics. Now, I know this is a ordnance focused build, but cybernetics seemingly has all the best stuff, and while we'll go over it. So for the first row, we're going to be getting Gathering Storm. This is just going to give us elemental damage. We do a lot of cold damage with this build, and if you somehow get some type of elemental affix extra on your like gear or something that affects it, this will just give it extra elemental damage, and this is pretty big. It can be up to 30%. Over here we're grabbing Executioner. This gives us increased crit hit damage. If you're shooting things in the head, and sometimes you'll get a lot of crit. This doesn't have the most crit in the world, this build, but if you do aim it correctly, Executioner will proc a lot and you'll get extra damage. For the next one we're getting is Bellows. When Amon activates his force skill, he gains increased gun damage for a duration. You don't need to actively throw it, you can just activate it. So yeah, just pressing F will activate it and you can get the bonus, so it's really nice. And then over here we're grabbing whatever that word is. This gives us ordnance damage as well as detonation radius. So the detonation radius is wasted, but the damage is really good. And then one of the most important parts of this build, Endless Bombardment. Grenades have a chance to refund themselves on use, and then heavy ordnance have a chance to refund 1 ammo on damaging enemies. We shoot a ton of ammo, and this is going to give us a 30% chance to refund heavy weapon refund ammo chance, and this is going to help us with sustain. This isn't all of it, by the way, there's more to it, but this is one of the pieces that matter. From this tree we're going to be using Snowball. I don't really think this is important to it. This is whatever. And then we're going to use Searing Cold. Whenever you throw your frost axe, it's going to freeze them. This kind of sets up your hot slugger, so that's really nice. Coming over to the Scorch tree, we're going to be picking up Scorch Kairos. You can get your class mod to have something like this as well to give you more damage, so that's a really great option. The other thing is going to be Battleborn. Our class mod is giving us this. I would ideally want this to be 5, but that's real, is what we have. The other thing you're going to allocate is Tales of the Comet. Whenever you use ordnance damage, there's a chance that you'll apply cryo damage over time. 30% chance. You're constantly applying it is really ridiculous. Next, we're going to use Ancient Ways. Since we're doing a ton of cryo damage, this cryo damage goes a long way in our damage. Next, we're going to get Northern Wind. Mon crit hits have a chance to apply additional slow to enemy as if dealt cryo damage. This is doubled when you have your action skill available. This is going to give you slow chance. It's kind of inconsequential, but what we actually care about is Primal Surge. When Amon applies a status effect to an enemy, there's a chance to partially restore his shields and ammo. And see, this is how we're maintaining our ammo primarily. So we have a 30% chance to apply 25% of our ammo back. So this is how we're maintaining it, and then we have Endless Bombardment to kind of slow it down, if that makes sense. So it'll be a little bit easier for us to actually proc it and continue to maintain it. Whenever I'm constantly shooting at enemies, I have yet to see it not like refill. Like it's always permanently refilling unless they like fly away and I miss. That's the only time. Now, I know a lot of you are asking me why not blackout. Is because we don't have enough points. This is non-negotiable. You cannot not use primal surge, so we have to invest 25 points into getting this. Like, it is mandatory. So that's why we're not using blackout. This build could not function without primal surge, and same with this one. Without endless bombardment, this build could not function. I mean, you can maybe skimp on endless bombardment. It'll be much harder to maintain ammo, but you in theory could skip out on endless bombardment and then maybe get blackout, but I haven't tried it, so you know, go with that with your own chance. But yeah, that's kind of why we do it that way. Finally, for our specialization, we're going 10 in survivor, 20 in brute, and 20 in gadgeteer. And I'm gonna go over a few things. The only reason we want survivor is to get over here to gadgeteer, and what we want is tripwire. What this does is whenever your action skill is activated, you have a ordnance cooldown reduction. Now I'll show you an example of this. As you can see here, my cooldown is 45 seconds. We activate it is 30, activate it 14, activate it is full, and we're ready to go again. In the event you like make a mistake and you mess up, you can actually use that. So that's a big one. Over here we have full spectrum arsenal. Ordnance damage now benefits from increases to gun damage. This is a massive damage increase. Do not skip out on this one. This one is mandatory. As I said, you just get more gun damage. And then fragmentation payload. Ordnance have a chance to crit hit and gains increased crit hit damage. That is a big number. And I want to be very clear, all the footage that you've seen in this video so far, fragmentation payload was not present in any of it. So you're gonna have 50% more crit damage and crit chance with this build. And the other thing we're using is also riddle you this. This one also is another one that's not present in any of the footage, and this can give you up to 50% more gun damage, which will benefit your ordnance as well. I was testing out this over here. I was testing out contamination basically, and it didn't feel like it was doing much, so I had split points. But anyway, riddle you this is going to give you damage. This is going to give you damage. So what you're seeing in the video right now is not even as much damage as it really could be. What my current build actually is, and we're not including the ordnance damage. So there's a lot more damage to be had in this build, which is what I'm trying to point out. Besides that, guys, that is it for this build. This build is pretty damn powerful, and it will be able to push pretty much any of the ultimate Vault Hunter ranks that you want. Some bosses can be a little weird at times depending on their hitboxes, because some of them are super buggy, but for the most part you should be able to clear just short of everything, and you'll be pretty much unstoppable to do so. So it's really nice. Keep in mind, I do stream live on Twitch every single day, as well as here on YouTube. So if you want to come and, you know, hang out in the channel or whatever the case is, if you need parts for the build, feel free to come by. I give away stuff to some of the viewers so they can, you know, use it. And that's not even a joke. I gave away some stuff today. So if you want to watch the build crafting live, come check out the channel and come hang out. As usual, don't forget to like as well as subscribe to the channel, guys. My name is Favor. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.